Whatever happened when these words reached you, something deep inside you changed right away. A door that wasn't there has slowly opened. You have already entered a new level of awareness, which we call quantum consciousness. You may not fully understand what this means yet. It's not just a thought or a far-off dream. This very moment, you are entering a reality that is alive and well. You made it here, even though there are a million other places you could be, and a million other things that want your attention. It wasn't a mistake. There was no chance about it. You were led to this experience by something much deeper, a wisdom that goes beyond your everyday thoughts. For those who feel even the tiniest bit of resonance in their hearts, that quiet pull that says, "Yes, this is for me," please know that this feeling is real. Being aware of a truth you've always known is what it means. The enormous shift from thinking you are separate, weak, and powerless to understanding that you are embedded in reality itself is known as quantum consciousness. When you awaken, you realize that your thoughts are not just fleeting thoughts that go away. They are waves of energy that travel through the universe and come back to you as experiences, coincidences, and opportunities. Just the fact that you're here listening makes it clear that you have already started to awaken. It might feel soft at first, like a whisper at the edge of your mind. Take a closer look. While you listen, notice how your breath slows down on its own. Take note of the stillness that comes between your thoughts. You may feel a strange but comforting sense that life is no longer random and that a beautiful pattern is starting to show itself. This is what it's like to touch the quantum consciousness field. You can never really unsee it once you feel it, even if it's just for a moment. You should hold on to this powerful moment, because this isn't just another video and these aren't just ideas you'll forget tomorrow. Sign up now. Think of this not as a random click, but as an act of alignment. You are being led here by intelligence, and it will continue to bring you the right words, advice, and reminders at the perfect time. You are saying yes to your own growth when you subscribe. Yes, let's stay in touch with this field. Yes to being clear, strong, and graceful as you walk this path. Now take a deep breath. See this moment for what it really is. You are not ready for your awakening to start. It's taking place now. You have already made quantum consciousness work for you. Everything in your life will never look the same again after this point. Know that this is more than just a video before you go any further. It is a transmission of energy. Share this message with a friend or family member right away if you think they are ready to listen. Sharing something with someone else is a quantum act of kindness that spreads this frequency of awakening and connects you both to this field of possibility. At some point in your life, something changes that is so fundamental that it can never be switched back. It doesn't matter how skeptical you try to be, how hard you try to make sense of it, or how quickly you write it off as a coincidence. You can't go back to the way you saw the world before you cross this invisible line. That point is where quantum consciousness starts to awaken. It might come on slowly at first, a dream that makes sense in a strange and strong way and stays with you. A sudden flash of intuition that turns out to be more right than any amount of reasoning. A conversation that seems so perfectly timed that it's like someone wrote it. It's easy to brush these times off by calling them luck or chance. But there's a voice inside you that says it's more than that. All of these small things are subtle signs that you have crossed the line between normal awareness and a broader view of reality. If you live before this threshold, you'll feel alone, broken up, and helpless. The real world seems random, and you feel like a small figure going through it all without being able to do anything. But as soon as you cross, as soon as your awareness changes even a little, that illusion starts to fall apart. Under all the chaos, you start to sense a pattern. There is a quiet intelligence at work in the smallest parts of your life. All of a sudden, you realize that some people always show up when you need them to. You can see how chances appear with an uncanny accuracy. You understand that even the problems you face have hidden lessons for you. You know that life isn't just happening to you, it's also happening with and through you. Let's say you've spent all your life walking through a dark room. You learn how to get through the shadows by running into things and remembering what they are. You get used to the darkness and think that's all there is. And then, out of the blue, someone turns on a light. Right away, everything that was hidden is revealed. The walls, the furniture, and the clear paths you had never seen before. The room itself hasn't changed. Only how you see it has changed. These are the main things you need to do to enter quantum consciousness. Reality was always alive, smart, and linked to everything else. But until now, you just weren't aware enough to see it. Right now, where you are, is proof that you have already come into the light. The fact that you are drawn to these words and feel a resonance in your soul, even if you can't put your finger on it, shows that the threshold has been surpassed. Normal consciousness would have scrolled away, not paying attention or being interested. But you chose to stay for some reason. There was something inside you that knew it was here. If this feeling sounds familiar, show your support by liking this video. This easy, deliberate action sends a strong energy message. It brings the frequency of this threshold crossing into your own field, which makes the change feel more real and palpable. There is also a deep meaning to crossing this threshold. You have to take care of this gift as well. You can no longer act as though you have no power once you realize how your consciousness is entangled with the fabric of reality. No longer can you leave your life up to fate, luck, or chance. Your emotions send out frequencies, your thoughts send out waves, and your very presence changes reality in subtle and strong ways. At first, this realization can be too much to handle, but it is also very freeing. It means you're not stuck. You were never that. But don't think that this awakening is the end. It's not the end of your journey, it's just the beginning. Stepping over the line is just the start. It leads to a new landscape where synchronicity becomes your first language, intuition your guide, and presence your most powerful tool. At this point, you can start to see that life has never been just a series of accidents. Your higher self has always been leading you through a beautiful dance that has always been perfectly planned and executed. From now on, the old illusion of being apart will never again make you feel fully satisfied. Deep down, you will always know that something bigger is living as you, moving through you and guiding you. That's the invisible line. The moment you stop being a stranger to how big you are, and remember that you have always been a part of the infinite field of quantum consciousness. Honor this change in yourself by writing in the comments, "I have crossed the threshold into awareness." Believe this simple statement deeply and let it hold your soul steady. There is a new beginning, and by writing these words, you are telling the universe that you are ready to see the world with fresh eyes. As soon as you become aware of quantum consciousness, life starts to talk to you in a way that is both strange and very familiar. It feels like reality is getting closer and talking to you through things you used to ignore. All of a sudden, things that you used to think were random start to feel planned. What you thought was a coincidence turns out to be beautiful accuracy. This new reality becomes more and more clear the more you think about it. Synchronicity is one of the first signs. Imagine thinking about someone you haven't talked to in years, and then seeing their name in your email or getting a call from them the next day. Imagine going about your day and overhearing a conversation between two strangers that gives you the answer to a question you've been thinking about, but not saying. Think about having a dream about a special symbol and then seeing it in real life a few hours later. These moments are not by chance. They are the field responding to you and lining up your inner frequency with what you are experiencing in the outside world. This big change starts to show up in your body too. You may have already felt it, tingling in your hands, a light warmth going through your chest, or the sensation of light energy currents moving across your skin. These are not crazy thoughts. In sync with the quantum field, they are the physical echoes of your awareness. You used to think of your body as just flesh and bone, but now you see it as a tool for energy that is perfectly tuned to the vibrations of your consciousness. Time starts to show that it is also fluid. People who are in a state of presence may feel like hours have passed in what seems like seconds. Another way to look at it is that 1 second can feel like forever. You start to understand that time is not a solid, straight line, but a flexible substance that bends and flexes based on how deeply you are aware. When you're more awake, you notice these small changes in the way time moves. Your dreams also change. They get brighter, more complex, and full of symbols that have meanings outside of your personal life. As they get stronger, they start to seep into your waking life and connect your inner and outer worlds. When you wake up, you might have the strong impression that your dreams were not just stories in your head, but also talks with the field, gentle reminders of the new paths that are opening up in front of you. And the quiet recognition that settles deep inside you might be the most important sign of all. It doesn't need to be proven or made sense of. It's like remembering, and there's a deep certainty that the universe is not dead or silent, but alive, smart, and responsive. Every thought, intention, and feeling is heard and reflected back to you in ways that don't make sense, but feel like the truth. When you start to notice these signs, your trust grows in a very interesting way. You stop seeing life as a bunch of random events and start seeing it as a conversation that never ends. Synchronicity, physical sensations, intuition, and resonance are all ways that you and the universe are always talking to each other. You can never take this dialogue back once you see it. Now that the veil is off, reality shows itself as a living, breathing mirror. I want to know if you've seen any of these signs in your own life. A coincidence that is too good to be true? A dream that was stronger than words? Something that felt right and turned out to be true? Write about your most powerful synchronicity in the comments and share it. This will not only help you really understand the subject, but it could also be the sign that someone else is looking for today. You learned a story about being apart for most of your life. You were told that you are just one of many billions of people in a universe that doesn't care about you. You were taught that your alone thoughts and feelings are private, and that the effects of your actions only reach those close to you. It was this conditioning that made you feel very alone, a quiet loneliness that could last even when you were with other people. One of the biggest lies people have ever believed is that they are separate from everything else. But this illusion starts to fall apart when you awaken to quantum consciousness. You start to feel what mystics, sages, and visionaries have said for hundreds of years. You are not separate at all. Being separate from the ocean doesn't make you a drop. You are the ocean living through the unique point of view of a drop. The love you give doesn't just disappear into thin air. It moves through the field and comes back to you in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. The harm you cause also doesn't go away. It comes back to teach you that what you put out into the field is what you will always meet again. Unity goes from being a nice thought to something that you can really feel. When you look at someone, you don't just see their body, face, or story. You can feel their energy because it's like your own. Their happiness makes you feel better because it's your own happiness coming back to you. You feel their pain because it's your own pain vibrating in a different way. All of a sudden, you don't have to try to be compassionate. It just comes naturally when you know there is no other. Press the like button right now to strengthen this sense of being connected to everyone. It takes energy to agree with the truth of unity, which is what liking is. It sends a wave of coherence through the quantum field, making your connection stronger and the connection we all share stronger as a whole. Everything changes, even how you interact with nature. After a while, the trees aren't just things that provide shade. They become living extensions of your consciousness. The stars in the sky at night aren't just faraway balls of fire. They're cosmic mirrors that show you how limitless you are. Every sound the birds make, the water ripples, and the wind blows starts to feel like a direct message from the intelligence that beats your heart. Fear starts to lose its hold on you when the illusion of separation fades. Fear has always grown when you think you're by yourself, small, and not connected to anything. You know there is nothing to defend against, nothing to conquer, and nothing to really be afraid of when you are in a state of unity. This is because you are a part of everything, and everything is a part of you. Even the problems you face have changed. You no longer see them as punishments from the outside world. Instead, you see them as messages from your deeper self that want you to grow, connect, and remember who you really are. This is the amazing gift of ending separation. Life stops being a battleground and starts to look like a beautiful dance. It's a dance of energy, reflection, and creation. And each step you take changes not only your own reality, but also the field we all share. Being aware of this unity as you go through life takes you to a deeper truth. You've never been apart. You were only sure you were. The veil was the trick. There has always been a connection between them. Feeling of oneness is a deep truth. If you felt it even for a moment, ground it by saying in the comments, "I am connected to all that is." As you type these words, let them be a meditation and a breaking down of the walls you've built around yourself. Your statement adds a frequency of unity to the field as a whole, reminding you and everyone else of this beautiful truth. You may have had the feeling, sometimes light and sometimes heavy, that life was happening to you for a long time. Things happened by chance, problems showed up out of nowhere, and victories felt like they were due to luck or fate rather than your own natural strength. This view of the world comes from the old paradigm of separation, which says that you are a small being in a big, uncaring universe. When you become aware of quantum consciousness, however, this story loses its power. Piece by piece, it starts to fall apart, and you can't act like you have no control anymore. At first, the realization hits slowly. You begin to understand that your inner world and the real world around you are not two separate things, but rather exact copies of each other. Your feelings color the things you say to each other. The chances you get are a reflection of what you think about yourself. People who say things are in your way don't seem to be punishments from outside forces. Instead, they seem to be direct responses to the energetic frequencies you are sending out. The feeling of being a victim fades slowly, almost imperceptibly. and something much more empowering comes up in its place. The truth that you are a conscious creator. This doesn't mean that your willpower gives you control over every part of reality. It means you are connecting with the intelligence that is already making things happen through and with you. Your emotions, thoughts, and plans are not just sparks that disappear into thin air. They are ripples in the quantum field that carry your energy and go far beyond what your eyes can see. It always responds because the field is perfectly coherent. If you stay in fear, you'll have experiences that make you feel even more afraid. Getting stuck in gratitude will bring you more reasons to be thankful. When you think about your highest self, you start to take steps that make that self real. Take note of how this changes how you deal with problems. You stop seeing obstacles as enemies you have to defeat and start seeing them as mirrors that clearly show you where your vibration is off and where your energy needs to be refined and raised. You don't have to blame yourself for this change. You just have to take back control. It's about realizing that every event has a hidden invitation inside it. The chance to become more aligned, to become more aware, and to remember your true role as a creator. In a strange way, taking on more responsibility makes you feel lighter. Whether you're blaming other people, life, or yourself, you stop carrying that heavy load. You stop waiting for someone or something to save you or let you do something. You start to understand that freedom was never about being in charge, but about being aware. You can choose when you know what to do. Having the freedom to choose means you are no longer stuck in old habits. The difference is still clear even when you give in to fear, doubt, or old stories. They no longer make you drown. You know that they are just frequencies and vibrations that you can change. In this state, you shape your reality not with force, but with gentle intention, pure presence, and conscious alignment. Everything in your life is changed by this change. Relationships stop being fights over unmet needs and become places where you can see yourself. Work stops being just a way to stay alive and starts to feel like an outlet for creativity. When you know that every moment is a canvas on which you are painting with your awareness, even the little things in your daily life take on a new meaning. No longer are you waiting for life to give you a goal. You understand that you are the reason. That existence itself flows through you, making new things every time you breathe. From here, things start to go differently in life. Doors that were shut before start to open. Paths that didn't seem to be there show up. Things that used to seem random now seem planned with an accuracy that goes against logic, but is undeniably true. This is the end of being a victim. Not because the hard times go away completely, but because you realize that the hard times were never a sign of weakness. It was always a reminder of how strong you are. Life is not a ride where you can't do anything. As you move with the rhythm of the universe and shape reality with your energy, moment by moment, choice by choice, breath by breath, you are a conscious co-creator. You have lived by the clock for as long as you can remember. The seconds, minutes, and hours pass in a strict, unbending order that doesn't care about how you feel and can't be stopped. Everyone taught you that time goes in a straight line from birth to death, that the past is always behind you, and the future is a complete mystery. You thought of yourself as a traveler on a narrow path, unable to change what was, and unable to see what was coming. This illusion is broken, though, when you awaken to quantum consciousness. Time isn't a straight line. There are no chains of events there. Time is a field that is big, changing, and has many dimensions. It doesn't just move forward. It moves in, out, and all around at the same time. As you become aware of it, it bends and stretches. Imagine an ocean that never ends and has currents going in all directions. This is a more accurate picture of how time really works. Your past, present, and future are not separate islands. They are all waves in the same ocean that are always affecting and touching each other in ways that your old mind could never understand. Think about times when you really got over an old hurt. The past seemed different all of a sudden, didn't it? The memory didn't go away, but the pain that came with it got less intense. You told yourself a different story. The event changed what it meant. What you thought was a failure turned out to be a very important lesson. What you thought was a betrayal turned out to be a necessary turning point. This is real, not just in your head. This is how the present moment changes the past. Quantum theory says that the frequency you are now collapses one version of the past and makes room for a new, more positive version to come into being. Tomorrow will be the same. Is there a dream that was so real you felt like you had already lived it? Or a sudden intuition that told you exactly what was going to happen before it did? These hints are not made up. They show you into parallel timelines that are already there in the quantum field, waiting for you to line them up with reality. You can choose to be aware of one timeline over another right now, not tomorrow or yesterday. It's the choices you make right now. This is why being present is holy. The present moment is more than just a second on the clock. This is the beginning of everything and the center point through which all time flows. When you fully anchored in the present, really here, not lost in memory or worry, you find that this moment has everything: the seeds of healing for your past, the blueprint for your future, and the very essence of your being. Time feels heavy when you don't know this. You carry your regrets around with you like stones because you think the past can't be changed. You carry your fear with you because you think the future is scary. But when you become aware of how time changes, you see that regret and fear go away in the light of your awareness. There is no longer anything that can hold you back or stop you from moving forward. From the power of now, you are free to make things. Like this video, to ground your creative power in this moment that will never end. As you do this, your whole being is pulled into the present moment, like a quantum anchor. When you like something, it brings you into the present moment and reminds your mind that this is where your real power lies. This realization changes the way you live. You don't rush anymore because you know there's nowhere to go and all the time is now. You stop holding on because you know that you can never really lose anything. Every experience is still in the field, waiting to be changed by your view. You no longer fear endings because you know that they are just breaks between timelines, chances to change your vibration and enter new versions of reality. Time in a straight line was a lie that made you feel small. Fluid time is the truth that lets you go anywhere. The clock starts to loosen its grip when you remember this, even for a moment. Time starts to feel less like a prison and more like a way to get around. You understand that time is not something you have to race against, but rather a strong ally that is always responding to how you are. Whenever you live from this place of awareness, each moment stops slipping away and starts growing. It turns into a blank canvas of endless possibilities, right now. If you feel like this message frees you, say in the comments, "My power is in this present moment." It's not just a statement, it's an act of being there. Feel your energy coming back into the present moment as you write it. It came from the past and the future. You are firmly rooted in the center of creation, which is this very spot. When you awaken, there is a moment when you realize that the weight that has been holding you down is not the world, but your resistance to it. Resistance comes in many forms, such as a strong desire to control what happens, a never-ending battle to make things happen, or a tight hold on what is familiar, even if it doesn't serve you anymore. For years, or even decades, this resistance seemed like it had to happen. You felt safe, like things were in order, and like you could change reality to fit your needs if you tried hard enough. But here's the paradox. The more you fought, the more worn out you got. Still, you couldn't find peace. This truth becomes very clear when you awaken to quantum consciousness. Giving up is more powerful than trying to control something. Giving up isn't a sign of weakness. It is not a loss. It's not giving up. When you let go of the need to fight against the flow of life and choose to trust it instead, you are truly surrendering. It is not passive. It is very active. To let go is stronger than to hold on. To trust is smarter than to doubt. And to flow is more faith-filled than to force. When you give up, you don't fall into nothingness. As you fall, you align. You start to realize that there is a higher intelligence than your own. This higher intelligence plans galaxies, makes stars, spins planets, breathes through all living things, and has been guiding your path the whole time. When you give up, you align with this intelligence and finally understand that it knows things you can't see yet. It's realizing that you're not going through life by yourself, but with a force that is huge, creative, and loving. Think about times when you fought change with everything you had. You might have held on to a dead-end relationship, job, or dream. You fought the falling apart because you were afraid of what would happen if you gave up. In spite of this, what happened when the time for change finally came and you had to let go? You often found that the end was really the start of something new. It was a gift to lose. The side trip was the exact path you were supposed to take the whole time. What looked like a collapse turned out to be a change. That's the wisdom of giving up. Anything that is taken from you for a reason is shown to be true. Nothing that was meant for you can ever be lost. Giving up also changes how you feel about time. Every wait feels like a punishment when you are in a state of resistance. Every pause feels like it's not moving. You get more and more angry as you ask yourself, why isn't it happening yet? However, giving up shows you that timing is not random. What you mean by waiting is not emptiness. It's getting ready. Every pause is a time for alignment, calibration, and the invisible work of the universe that is setting things up in ways you can't see yet. When you look back, you can often see it clearly. The delay was for safety, the waiting was smart, and the time was just right. When you give up, peace starts to grow. Life's flow no longer seems like an enemy to fight, but rather like a river taking you exactly where you need to go. Your body's tension goes away. Your mind stops making noise. It gives you a deep sense of freedom to no longer need to hold on, cling, or control. And trust lifts you up instead of fear pulling you down. There is more magic, lightness, and freedom in my life. Not because all problems go away, but because you face them with a different heart, one that goes with the flow instead of against it. This is not a philosophy to believe in. It is the way things really are. When you give up, you can start acting on your inspiration without worrying. You don't feel desperate as you go after your dreams. Without fear, you move through the unknown. You no longer need to know everything before taking a step because you trust that the step will show you the way. Something that is meant for you can't miss you, and something that isn't meant for you can't stay. Surrendering means letting go of control and just being a part of life. It takes courage to face life as it really is and realize that as it is smarter, kinder, and more in sync with things than anything you could have pushed together. You don't lose yourself when you give up. You finally meet yourself the way you really are, huge, linked, and free.